Why doesn't happiness last? Have you ever caught yourself saying, "If only this one thing happens, I'll be happy"? It could be anything: a new job, a relationship, a house, a little more money, even something as small as waiting for a message from someone. And then, the thing finally happens. For a while, everything feels perfect, almost as though life has fallen into place. But what has always fascinated me is this: why doesn't that feeling stay? The house is still there. The relationship is still there. The promotion is still there. Yet the happiness quietly begins to fade. I've often wondered, was happiness ever inside those things? Or did something else happen for those brief moments? The more I observe my own life, the more I notice that before almost every disappointment, there was already a picture in my mind. I had decided how the meeting would go, how someone should respond, how the day should unfold. Sometimes I don't even realize I'm carrying that picture until reality does something different. And suddenly, there is frustration. Not necessarily because reality is painful, but because it refused to follow the picture I had already drawn. That makes me wonder, how much of my life am I actually experiencing, and how much am I comparing? Comparing what is with what I had imagined. Perhaps that's why I find myself saying, happiness is the merger of concept and reality. That sentence raises another question for me. What exactly is this concept? Because reality is the same for everyone standing in the same place. Yet two people can walk away having lived completely different experiences. The same rain that ruins someone's picnic may bring relief to a farmer. The rain didn't choose between them. So what changed? Perhaps the answer isn't outside at all. A concept is my perception of reality born out of my own fixities. When I look back, that feels surprisingly true. The more fixed I am about how life should be, the more opportunities I create for disappointment. If that's the case, then happiness almost begins to look like an agreement between a moment that I had imagined and what actually happened. Both necessarily need to sync for me to be happy. Either my concept needs to sync with universal reality, or universal reality needs to sync with my concept. But the conscious experience of happiness is the result of reality bending to my concept, and not the other way round. And perhaps, without even noticing, there's a quiet feeling that comes with it. Almost as though life has confirmed, you were right. The strange thing is, that feeling never seems to last very long. Maybe because reality was never trying to prove me right in the first place. There is the accompanying sense of arrogance, however short-lived it may be, that contributes to that euphoria. Not arrogance in the loud sense, not looking down on anyone, just that subtle feeling that, for a moment, life has agreed with my version of how things should be. Then I begin wondering, what happens when there is no struggle at all? When there is no need for reality to win or for me to win? Perhaps what remains isn't excitement. Perhaps it's something quieter. When both sync, irrespective of which syncs with which, there is a sense of balance. Notice how different that feels. Happiness feels like a peak. Balance feels like solid ground. One comes and goes. The other doesn't seem to demand applause. Happiness is not a matter of universal reality, but a very personal concept. Balance, though, is a universal concept. And then I find myself asking a question I had never seriously asked before. What if I've been making happiness the purpose of life, when it was never meant to be? I realize that happiness is not my purpose. my purpose is balance, and that being so, I experience a sense of euphoria and elation when both reality and my concept sync. And maybe that becomes possible only because something else has quietly changed over time. The concepts I carry are no longer completely detached from life itself. Perhaps they've slowly been shaped by reality. I notice that even my concepts are steeped in reality and not divorced from it, and that affords me the ability to be balanced more often than not. I don't know if happiness can ever stay. But I do wonder, if balance quietly deepens, does happiness stop being something to chase and simply become something that visits when concept and reality happen to meet? Pause, look within,